listening to the Sunday Night Showdown series here at Chicagoland Speedway tonight for what I would assume is going to be a very fun and exciting race. Hope you guys enjoyed your Thanksgiving and had a good week. For those who celebrate it, drivers were able to get a week off there, and so preparation for things has kind of been put on hold for a minute, but for tonight, they've got a tall task, very fun track. I think we're going to see a lot of these guys slip and slide around, but let's go ahead and go off with our starting grid. Row number 1, we have Reese Schaefer and Derek Garrison making up the front row. Row number 2 will be Joseph Causey and John Barry. Row number 3 will be Reese Hamilton and Stoney Benfield. Then row number 4, we will have Bryce Shoemaker, who will be joined by Jordan Barry. These two drivers with good starting positions here. Row number 5, Justin Day and Jacob Zolla. Row number 6 will be Eric Garrison and Justin Levine. Going on to row number 7, we'll go ahead and take a look at Jim Foskett and Brock Piper, who will make up this row. Then heading on to row number 8 will be Keith Shoemaker and Aaron Kay. And then row number 9, we will have Jason Miz and Andrew Chapman. And rounding out the field in the final row, row number 10, that'll be Colby Jackson and Landon Matherson. Colby Jackson we saw have some moments at Bristol last time we raced, and looking to make a better run at it here when we get the green flag in just a moment. Go ahead and take a look at this weather here quick one more time. These guys will pace around. Temp outside is 86. Track temp is 89, so pretty hot, pretty slick. Then our wind is about 4 miles an hour to the west with really clear skies out here. So not really a lot of cloud cover or anything for these drivers to worry about tonight. The only thing that would really affect these guys is that really hot sun and beating down on these guys, slicking up the track. We'll have to see if this is another one of these races that we see a lot of drivers have handling issues in this race the further that we get into these runs. For the time being, though, Reese Schaefer, Derek Garrison, pace trucks ready to pull off, and we'll get the green flag and go racing here from Chicagoland Speedway. Green flag in the air, we're off and racing. Reese Schaefer with the early lead here over Derek Garrison. Joseph Causey trying to defend third off from a hard charging John Barry, and then Reese Hamilton, the other Reese here in that 4 truck on that bottom side. Bryce Shoemaker right behind him as well. New paint scheme for that 54 truck, paying tribute to Michael Annette, one of the drivers in real life that unfortunately just passed away just a few days. Beautiful paint scheme being paid tribute to Michael Annette right there in that 54. Hopefully see that truck in victory lane later. Bryce Shoemaker knows a thing or two about winning here at Chicagoland. He's done it before in this league. Jim Foskett, Brock Piper here, going back and forth. Brock Piper running that little bit of a higher side while Jim tries to run that bottom lane. But that high side is really going to prevail here, and you'll see it mostly off of the exits. Brock is going to have a pretty good entry into turn 3. We'll see if he's able to hang on to it. Coming off of 4, maybe give a little bit of time away. You don't want an outside wall coming off of 4. It'll on you very quickly. Jim Foskett now able to get around Brock Piper for the time being. Brock Piper gonna lose that spot, but actually, as I said, that is able to get a good run off the high side, and he'll pull even with Jim down the front stretch, maybe even have a big enough run to clear Jim in 1 and 2. Brock now going to move himself into 12th position. Jim Foskett now under pressure from Colby Jackson. Colby Jackson, again, like we saw the last race at Bristol, is not afraid to go where others are not. He's using this high side early on into this race as we're only on lap 7. That's Jason Miz right there in the 9 truck behind him as well, also trying to utilize that high side as well. We'll see where Colby Jackson decides to go here. Looks like he's going to dive to the inside. Now apply pressure to Jordan Berry and Brock Piper, who we just saw Brock Piper use that high side to get around Jim Foskett. We'll see if he can use it to hold off Colby Jackson on the bottom. And the big thing a lot of these drivers were hoping for was some green flag runs, that some drivers could showcase what their long run ability is. Last time at Bristol Speedway, we had quite a bit of cautions and really only had one decent run, and it was about 40-ish laps. And a lot of drivers were not really happy with how that went. As we go back up front here for a second, this is Derek Garrison getting around Reese Schaefer for lead. Now Derek Garrison's going to put a little bit of a gap between him and second place of Reese Schaefer, about 2 truck lengths there coming up the exit. We'll see if that's by design from these two. These two are some of the better drivers in this field, I would think. They've been around in this league for a while, so definitely veteran drivers here currently in the 1 and 2 position. Joseph Kazi right there in 3rd as well. You can also count him into that veteran sort of category, but we've seen Reese Schaefer time and time again really been good at these tire saving type of races where you need to be able to keep your tires on your race truck or race car, and later in the run you'll see him sort of work his way back up to whoever's in front of him and kind of easily catch him while the guy up front burns their tires up. We'll see if that's the case. Right now though, Joseph Kazi has his hands full with a hard charging Bryce Shoemaker and Reese Hamilton right behind him. That's Stoney Benfield in that green and black truck. Had a little bit of a slide there coming off of 2. Bryce Shoemaker using this high side to get around Joseph Causey. We'll see if it pays off, and yes, it will. So Bryce Shoemaker will now move into third place. Joseph Causey will have his, I'd say, kind of mirror, maybe not so much of a mirror, depending on where he runs on track, of Reese Hamilton and Stoney Benfield right behind him. Reese Hamilton is all over that back bumper of Joseph Causey, maybe trying to get Joseph Causey a little bit of aero looseness there coming off of 2. Able to get to his outside now, down the back straightaway. So Joseph Causey will now move to the 5th position, and Stoney Benfield right behind him as that truck sideways. He definitely looks like he's kind of having a little bit of a handful right now, running that higher side. We'll see if he's able to keep it under him this corner. Looks like a better corner out of Stoney Benfield right there, but a few bad slides in your right rear will definitely start to heat up too much. That'll cause the truck to have more handling issues. So if you're the 75 truck, we'll definitely be keeping an eye out for him, but if you're the 75 truck, you might want to try and cut back on those slides a little bit. Maybe a little bit of contact right there from the 74 of John Barry. Saw the 75 truck kind of shoot toward the side. Wondering if that was the 74 kind of catching up to the 75's bumper and maybe saying, hey, move out the way, I'm quicker than you. Justin Levine now working his way around the 75, so that little bump, tight racing right there, maybe some contact between those two. Good job at hanging on to it for both those drivers, but very close moment right there for the 33 and the 75. But as I was saying, that 75, with that little bit of a bump from the 74, really has cost him 2 positions right there. 74 continuing to move forward. Now get around Joseph Causey for this 5th position. Joseph Causey falling back another position here early on. Not too worried about it though. Still early in this race. Plenty of time for these drivers to try and put together something for the second half of this race. Back up front, Bryce Shoemaker has moved his way into 2nd place. Reese Hamilton and Reese Schaefer have gone back and forth these past couple of laps, trading this 3rd place. For the time being though, Reese Hamilton be the better Reese and hang on to that 3rd position. John Barry now looking to send it into the turns 3 and 4 to clear up in front of Reese Schaefer. A little bit of a wall tap right there from Reese Hamilton in front, and that's going to be a place that we're going to have to watch out for. I kind of briefly mentioned it earlier, but turn 4 can be very troubling to some of these drivers. You really have a whole lot of room to make mistakes off of 4. That wall definitely does come up pretty quick when you're making the exit, and one wrong move, one little bobble or wiggle can send you into that wall, and that will cause you to lose a lot of speed if you get sucked into the wall, but also potential issues for yourself as other drivers behind may not be able to avoid you when you hit that wall. Right now, though, the field spread out pretty good for the most part. Have a few close battles that we'll keep our eye on, but right now it looks kind of like these drivers have sorted out where and what they're going to be for these next handful of green flag laps. John Barry and Reese Hamilton both really using this high side. Reese Hamilton, may have been the wall just a little bit, but Reese Hamilton has been really close to this outside wall, and they kind of nabbed him there in 3 and 4. That's going to allow the 74 of John Barry to make a move to the inside. Not sure if he'll have enough momentum to carry a slide job, so he'll have to fall back in line and try again. Just look at how close Reese Hamilton up is against this wall. He's really using this whole racetrack to hold off these two drivers behind him. But you have to be very careful. We saw him get a little bit of the wall a lap ago, and right now it looks like he's really the closest one to the wall. Not a lot of room for error if you're running this high side. However, Reese Hamilton setting down some pretty decent laps. We'll take a look at our race analysis here too quick before we get too into this race. Under 34 laps total with a stage break at lap 60. And then our final lap, or our final stage, will consist of 74 laps in total. Pit road speed 50 miles an hour, so kind of our average pit road speed, I'd say. Then we have 5 sets total, 4 behind the wall for these drivers to change. And our estimated fuel window is about 40 to 45 laps. So these drivers will definitely need to pit in this first stage. I expect some drivers might try and split it right down the middle. We'll have to see if that is the case, or if majority of these drivers decide to just run it out. These drivers do have one fast repair though, so in case there is any sort of gap, drivers will have a second chance in this race. However, after a very good start this week, not as bad as we had at Bristol a few weeks ago. I don't want to jinx it because I have jinxed stuff in the past, so I don't really want to do that. It's the Reese and Reese show heading into turns 3. That's Reese Schaefer on the bottom, Reese Hamilton on the top. Reese Schaefer is going to take that position away from Reese Hamilton. Schaefer now will be scored in the 3rd position. I noticed a little bit of a stutter there in the stream. I'm not quite sure what's going on. If it doesn't get any worse, then I really won't worry about it too much, but apologies there. Aaron K, John Barry back here. And actually, John Barry is on pit road. And some of these drivers making their pit stops. Keith Shoemaker, Jordan Berry going for this 11th position. Reese Hamilton now making his way onto pit road. So Reese Hamilton, the first of these top 5 drivers to make their pit stop at lap 35. Or a little bit of an overshoot there. That's going to cost him a little bit of time. Still not quite able to get it back into his box. And a disastrous pit stop so far. Finally able to get his pit stop going. But that's going to hurt his time out on track quite a bit. Not what you want to have happen. But thankfully still early in this race. And he should be able to make that time back up. Keith Shoemaker now making his way down pit road in that 88 truck. Reese Schaefer now applying pressure to Bryce Shoemaker for this 2nd position. And I talked about it earlier in this run, seeing what Reese can do on these longer runs right now. After losing a couple spots, he's going to defend Bryce Shoemaker for this 2nd position. Bryce Shoemaker trying to fight the 25 of Jacob Zala on newer tires, excuse me. Bryce Shoemaker now going to make the hard left turn on the pit road. Green flag pit stops. And right now, it will be Derek Garrison, Reese Schaefer, Justin Levine out of the top about 5 to 6 trucks that still need to make their green flag pit stop. I think we'll see Reese run a little bit longer than probably most of these guys. I'm not quite sure what Derek Garrison's plan is. I think Derek Garrison is probably going to try and match Reese's pit stop. And we have already seen one issue on pit road. That was out of Reese Hamilton. He is now back to 16th position. So a very costly pit stop for him. Thankfully for him, we will have a stage break here in about 20-ish laps. However, that's really going to hurt his ability to get these stage points that he was gonna get. Now he's gonna have to kind of fight and claw to get at least some sort of points given to him. Faster trucks approaching on newer tires. Get around these leaders. That's Justin Day. That's in between Reese Schaefer and Derek Garrison in that bright orange 24 machine. Now Derek Garrison is going to make his way on the pit road. Looked like a really good entry right there out of Derek. We'll have to see if he's able to get into his box just as good. Long pit road. He'll turn into his box, and looks like he'll be able to stop in his box and not have any issues there. Now the focus is on Reese Schaefer. When will he pit? Justin Levine just worked his way down pit road. Derek Garrison off and away. He'll be coming off the pit road here. Justin Levine as well. Justin Levine, I think, actually is going to be able to get around Derek Garrison. So now, Reese Schaefer is going to work his way down pit road. That'll hand the lead over to John Berry, and then Derek Garrison and Justin Day will follow in second and third positions. And there is a pretty big tire difference when it comes to speed. These tires, when fresh and new, will really give you a few seconds of tire difference out on track. So drivers electing to come early may pay the price later in the longer run, where drivers who come a bit later may be able to reel them in. So it really just depends on your strategy as a driver and as a team. Jacob Zala currently the first truck a lap down, right behind John Berry here, who is leading the way. Derek Garrison just over a second and a half back. Derek Garrison cycling back out to about sixth position. And then our other driver of Reese Schaefer, not so close as Derek and Justin Levine. Reese Schaefer is all the way back to 13th, 14th position. And he should be able to get some sort of stage points here. We'll just have to see if he's able to catch the top 10 and get inside that points paying area before the end of this first stage. We saw Bryce Shoemaker there in second position for quite a while before he was able to get pressured from Reese Schaefer for that position, and then he made the green flag pit stop just a lap later, currently running in this third position, but he has Justin Levine on his tail on those little bit fresher tires directly behind him. We'll see what Bryce Shoemaker can do. Justin Levine running a little bit higher up against that wall. Bryce Shoemaker doesn't really look like he's too comfortable with running that high. They'll be coming up on Eric Garrison. Bryce might try and use that as a pick. Justin Levine, though, he's going to split him right in the middle. Will he get a 2-for-1? It looks like he will. So Justin Levine able to play that pretty perfect and split the gap between Eric and Bryce Shoemaker. He'll be able to get second, as Bryce moves back to third. But now the other Garrison brother of Derek Garrison now applying pressure to both these trucks. He's going to slot in front of Bryce Shoemaker and now set his sights on Justin Levine. Slides up the track, not enough to clear though. Side drafting down this front straightaway. We'll see if Derek decides to send it in a little bit deeper, or if he tries and builds that run off. Will he slide up? He has enough room, and Derek Garrison to second place. Justin Levine back to third place. Do they have enough time to catch John Barry is the question. 2 seconds behind race leader John Barry with just under 8 laps to go. In this first stage. And there is a difference between catching and passing. Passing can be very difficult here. Now, I don't think it'll be too difficult with the tire difference for these drivers, but there is always that possibility that John Barry could be saving something for when Derek Garrison does catch him. We'll see how difficult John Barry makes it to pass. Derek Garrison now, though, closing down on just a second. You'll have to make quick work of Jacob Zala. Jacob Zala running a little bit lower of a line. That's going to force Derek Garrison to run higher. And Zala at the last second decides to move up, and that's going to impede Derek just a bit. Derek Garrison closing on John Barry just under half a second. The difference in lines, the difference in tires. Side by side coming off of 2. Derek not able to stay even. John Barry running that higher lane. Will this be enough for Derek to clear? Yes, it will. Derek Garrison now to the point with just under 4 laps to go in the first stage. Will John Barry be able to rebound and find something on this high side and try and get that lead away? Slipping and sliding up there, just not enough grip and not able to get the power down. He's going to lose a little bit more time. The opportunity. See what he's able to do in 3 and 4. this lead continuing to just grow between these two. Derek Garrison, those fresher tires really putting in the work. John Barry just trying to hold on for the time being. Now drivers are going to be able to come down pit road, get their fresh tires and fuel up. And this really kind of is a good reset point for certain drivers that may have not had the best first stage. This is definitely going to help drivers like Reese Hamilton, who had that early pit road incident where he wasn't able to get stopped in his box, and he spent quite a bit of time on pit road trying to get that adjusted. So if you're a Reese Hamilton, or if you're a Stoney Benfield, or you're a Brock Pfeiffer, or even a Reese Schaefer, who is right now sitting in 16th position, this is kind of gonna give you a reset point in the race and allow you to either make changes as a driver or changes as a team, whether that's being more aggressive with calls or maybe just switching up certain things that you do on track as a driver. We'll have to wait and see if Derek Garrison, though, is able to continue this really dominating run here at Chicagoland. And again, just a good shout out to these drivers who, after talking to a few of them last week, or actually, 2 weeks ago, after the Bristol race where we had quite a bit of cautions, and even weeks prior to that, these drivers have been able to go green the first 63 laps and really put on a heck of a show so far. And it seems like this is what drivers really wanted. They wanted the race to fall into their own hands. They wanted to be able to decide how hard or how not hard they have to push when taking the green flag. And right now, these drivers getting that opportunity to display their long green flag runs and their ability to be able to pass trucks later into this race. Pace truck getting ready to take the hard left turn. We're going to get ready to get back racing. Green flag back in the air. Derek Garrison leading them off and away once again. Justin Levine with a good start there on that bottom side. That's going to force John Berry to get pressured by Reese Schaefer and Bryce Shoemaker for that third position. Side by side for the race lead, heading into turns 1 and 2. Justin Levine wants it. Derek Garrison trying to hold off, but he's not going to have enough, and Justin Levine will now power to the front. Brock Piper, Jason Miz, side by side here for this 8th position. Brock Piper able to hang on to that position for now. And so far, a decent start by Brock Piper on this restart. Reese Hamilton as well, moving his way up to 6th position. We kind of saw Reese Hamilton come to life later in that first green flag run. We'll have to see if he can do that same sort of run at it again here. Stoney Benfield, Justin Day going at it for 13th position. Stoney Benfield has it for the time being. Colby Jackson in this 10th position. Saw him start at the back of this pack, able to move at least halfway up through this field so far in this race. We've seen Colby Jackson be aggressive in these races so far this season, and it's worked out for him at some points, other points it hasn't so much. Starting to see some drivers kind of be a little bit more cautious on the start of this second stage, really not pushing as hard as we saw in that first stage at the beginning of this race. And like I was saying, that stage really allows you to reset as a driver and figure out different things that can help you. Or if you're a driver like Reese Hamilton, just being able to get back bunched up with the field allows you to have these opportunities to go after some of these guys that may be a little bit slower than you. And right now he's making the most of it. Up to 5th position after getting around Bryce Shoemaker, setting his sights on Eric Garrison. Back up front though, Derek Garrison, Justin Levine, side drafting back and forth. Derek Garrison starting to come back into his little, I'd say, momentum swing in this race, especially when these longer runs go on. It seems to really be helping Derek in this number 1 machine. Not enough power there off the exit though for Derek, so he'll have to slot back in behind Justin and try and get another run. Barry now giving his shot at Eric Garrison. Eric Garrison running a little bit higher up this line that we've been seeing out of some of these drivers. Not all the way up against the wall, but still enough to hold off that 74 truck for the time being. The gap between 2nd and 3rd continuing to grow as well. Justin Levine and Derek Garrison have really put a decent sized gap over the rest of the field. Jason Miz using that high side. May have actually hit it just a little bit, not quite sure if he did or not, but it looked like he was awfully close to it coming off of 2. Brock Piper falling back a few spots these last few laps. He's going to try and defend Jordan Berry from taking this 10th position, but Jordan Berry fighting on the inside, able to really run this bottom lane. Oh, maybe a little bit of a wiggle and a slide up from Jordan Berry. That's going to cost him half a truck length on this Brock Piper machine. Eric Garrison, John Berry, they've been going at it these past few laps. We've kind of been watching it, but really pretty much equal trucks for the time being. John Berry's been trying to use a few different lanes to his advantage, but hasn't been able to get around Eric Garrison yet. We'll see if the 74 has used up his tires, and if that maybe kind of hurt him trying to get around this 5 truck, or if maybe the 74 has something for this 5 truck still. Reese Hamilton right behind these 2 trucks as well. He's looking to pass these 2 whenever he can and move himself into that third position. Oh, Bryce Shoemaker right behind him in the wall just a bit, I think, coming off 4. And back up front, Derek Garrison trying to put it together once again. Still quite not enough. He's going to have to side draft Justin Levine. Derek's strength seems to be really in 1 and 2 on that bottom lane. It's just Justin Levine's able to hold strong on that middle, the outside lane, and not allow Derek to stay even down the backstretch. And we'll see it once again here. Derek Garrison wrapping that bottom lane. Justin Levine running a little bit higher, maybe a little bit of a slide right there to that 33. That might open the door for Derek Garrison to stay side by side. Still not quite enough for Derek Garrison. He's going to have to reset once again. Now these two trading. Justin Levine running that bottom, Derek Garrison running the high side. A little bit of a bobble right there out of Derek Garrison though. And that's actually going to give him enough run to maybe do a crossover. Will he be enough though? Trying to get the power down is Derek Garrison. So is Justin Levine. Justin Levine a little squirrely right there. He might have even hit the wall. And that's going to open the door for Derek Garrison. Oh, sliding on that front straightaway. Very slick. These trucks are an absolute handful already. And going down to that apron just really adds a whole another issue for these drivers. Side by side once again going to 3 and 4. Justin Levine with the advantage. A little bit of a bobble there from Derek Garrison though, and that's going to force him to slide back behind Justin Levine. These two drivers using all the racetrack that they can. Derek Garrison's going to try and go back up against that wall and try and get that run that he got a few laps ago. And the gap between these two has grown to just over 2 truck lengths for first and second place. We still have one more pit stop, but if you're Derek Garrison, you really don't want to have to rely on that pit stop to get around Justin Levine. You want to be able to get around Justin Levine really right now. The sooner the better for that clean air advantage, and just in general being able to control the race and not have to ride behind that 33 truck. Now, if you're the 33 truck, you're doing your absolute best to mirror drive that one truck behind you and take away any advantage that he might have. Justin Levine not able to get it hooked on that bottom lane, and that's gonna give some clean air to Derek Garrison to turn under, and he's gonna be able to close down that gap just a little bit more. And really the big difference between these two drivers so far tonight has been Justin Levine not able to get it hooked on that bottom lane. Derek Garrison's ability to ride right on that white line has been pretty much perfection. And you see it right there again. Derek Garrison hooking that white line, gaining a little bit more time on Justin Levine's back bumper. Now going to the high side, Justin Levine trying to be defensive on it. They're trying to make another peek to the inside. Those bumps in 3 and 4 in that bottom lane really affecting that truck the later this run goes into. Derek Garrison moving around, trying to find some sort of clean air advantage. That really didn't help him too much right there. I think he might have actually almost hit the wall and had to lift off a little bit. We'll see what happens in 1 and 2. Diving down to the inside, trying to make this pass happen sideways off the corner. And I don't want to count out John Berry. I've been watching his last few laps. The gap has definitely closed down just a bit. And that might kind of affect how Derek Garrison wants to go after this race lead, knowing that John Berry behind you is matching, if not a little bit quicker than you. Again, running that high side, trying to get the run off, going down the back straightaway. Justin Levine moving down to defend, still not able to hook that bottom as good as Derek Garrison. And now Derek Garrison's going to have clean air and be right on the back bumper of Justin Levine coming down this front straightaway. We'll see what these two drivers decide to do in 1 and 2, both running the high side now. That's really going to hurt Derek Garrison if he's not able to find some sort of clean air. Losing just a little bit of time by running that high side with Justin Levine. Justin Levine really good at protecting that. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what the guys' last lap time was. So out of the top 3, John Berry just a bit than these top 2. And although Derek Garrison is shown as a little bit slower from Justin Levine, honestly, I think Derek Garrison is faster than Justin Levine for the time being. It's just he hasn't been able to get around him with having the dirty air on that front end of that one machine, trying to dive it down to the inside. Not sure if he'll have enough. Justin Levine fighting hard on this outside still, and Derek Garrison has to slot in again behind Justin Levine, and that gap behind him from 1.3 seconds is now down to about 1.1 to 1.2 seconds. So really, the longer this run goes on, it's really hurting Derek Garrison. The ability to run this high side is just amazing, and whoa, right there, Derek might have gotten a little bit too much out of it, but just watching these drivers utilize this high side and be right up against the wall is impressive to watch. We'll see if he decides to go up on that high side again here. Actually runs a bit low. Justin Levine, though, running a little bit higher right there. Derek Garrison now having the door open for another move, but not able to hang on to it coming off the exit. And we're kind of closing in on these green flag pit stops. We'll have to see if Derek Garrison decides to undercut it by a lap or two and try and get out in front of Justin Levine. I think if you're Derek Garrison, that might be a move that you might have to pull off. I wouldn't say you have to do it really, but it would definitely help you out, and then you'd be in control of that dirty air and would allow yourself to have pretty much control of this race, like what we've seen out of Justin Levine after this after this first stage. And Sean Berry now kind of losing a little bit of time as well. We saw him get into just over a second difference, and now back to almost a second and a half. So John Berry might be losing the handling on that race truck. Derek Garrison looks like he's starting to lose that right rear as well. You can see it step out coming off the exit, trying to get that power down on that high side. Alright, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break, but we will be back in just a second, and by that time, green flag pit stops should either have started or be starting. We'll be right back, but you guys won't miss a thing.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Showdown Truck Series here at Chicagoland Speedway. Just under 25 laps to go now. We'll take you non-stop to the conclusion of this race. Currently, for the time being, though, Andrew Chapman is leading this race. John Berry, Justin Levine, Reese Schaefer, John Berry. Those are your, or Jordan Berry, excuse me. Those are your top 5 drivers. Jordan, Derek Garrison trying to get around Jordan Berry. Jordan Berry on those little bit of older tires holds up Derek Garrison just a bit. And that's going to help Justin Levine out. The gap between those two after that green flag pit stop has grown to a few seconds. Justin Levine able to work his way around John Berry. Now, this is really going to come down to how quick Derek Garrison can catch back up to Justin Levine. Justin Levine pitting that lap ahead of Derek Garrison really is what shuffled this whole lineup around between these two and put the gap between him and Derek Garrison. So if you're Derek Garrison, you've got a tall task at hand. You've got a lot of time to have to go make up and not a lot of time left in this race. But if we saw the same speed from earlier, I do think Derek Garrison might have a chance to catch Justin Levine. That 18 truck on a little bit older tires as well. Currently out front, but Justin Levine should be able to get around him in the next couple of laps. You see just that big tire difference between these two. Justin Levine was able to catch that 18 truck in a set of corners, really. Now, Andrew Chapman is going to move back to second place. Justin Levine back out front. John Berry, Derek Garrison. The next two drivers on fresher tires, that's Aaron Kay in the 37. Currently 2 laps down, trying to get at least one of his laps back. 19 laps to go for Justin Levine. 19 laps for Derek Garrison to try and make something happen. John Barry as well right there within a second of Justin Levine. And a really good run out of John Barry so far tonight. We'll see if he's able to hang on to this finish that he has. If you're this one truck, you want to be able to catch Justin Levine and John Barry. John Barry right there in front of you. You can physically see him out that windshield. But the bigger picture being Justin Levine, you just gotta stay calm. Don't make any mistakes. You know you are very quick, especially on these longer runs. Although we don't have as long as a run to the finish that we have had these past two runs, there's still plenty of time for you to make that time up and give a shot to Justin Levine for the race win. You have to be quick getting around this 74 truck though. The quicker you spend racing the 74, the more time you're going to lose. And with just under 15 laps to go, that's not what you need. Able to make really quick work of that 74, not spending too much time. Now we'll be able to see what Derek Garrison can do in these last 14 laps to go. The gap was just 2 seconds a lap ago. Now it's down to 1.7 seconds. Again, Derek Garrison really good at running this lower lane. Justin Levine, if we go pan a shot on him, he's really been struggling to hold it down there. He's been kind of running a middle lane or just above that, like maybe about half a truck off the bottom. And that's really been the difference between these top two and where that speed difference is coming from. Right now though, Justin Levine sitting pretty with over a 1.5 second lead on Derek Garrison. At this rate, I don't think Derek will really have a shot at being able to give anything for Justin Levine. We'll ride on board with Derek Garrison here. Closing down to just under 1.3 seconds. Really good set of corners right there from Derek Garrison. That's going to allow him to close at least another 10th on Justin Levine. Again, really good entry here from Derek Garrison, being able to run just a little bit lower than Justin Levine. Oh, and maybe a little bit of a bobble right there in between 3 and 4. Eight laps to go. Justin Levine in sight. Derek Garrison trying to be mistake-free from here on out. If you're on that one truck's pit box, you need to be telling your driver to remain calm. No mistakes from here on out. You've closed down the gap to just about to a second, and you're within truck reach of being able to make something happen with a few good sets of corners. Staying even that last lap. Derek Garrison moving higher to try and find some sort of momentum. Justin Levine still running his line that he's been running, not really being defensive quite yet. Under 6 laps to go. The gap still remains the same that it has the past lap and a half. Will Derek Garrison be able to find anything in the next couple of laps? Or is Justin Levine able to hang on to this race lead? A good set of corners right there from Derek Garrison. But once again, Justin Levine able to keep it pretty much even. At this point in the race, if you're these two drivers, you don't want to see any caution. And if you're the rest of the field, you'd love to see some sort of caution and get a shot at the win. Coming to 4 laps to go this time by. Derek Garrison just not having the speed that he had earlier in this race. You can see that truck just be an absolute handful. He's going to try running the bottom again. Justin Levine still able to hang on to what he's been running so far, not losing any time. Coming to 3 laps to go, Justin Levine, Derek Garrison separated by only just under a second. This has been Derek Garrison's really good set of turns. 1 and 2 running that lower lane, trying to make something happen. The time difference between these two, pretty even. That last time by, Justin Levine just a bit quicker. Derek Garrison not having that lap that he really needed to have. Justin Levine going through 3 and 4. He'll see the white flag this time by around, as long as we don't have a caution within the next couple of feet. White flag in the air for Justin Levine. at the line. Justin Levine able to hang on to it. Derek Garrison tried. And my mouse unfortunately has died on this screen. I'm not quite sure what's going on. I can't switch the screen for the time being. There we go. Justin Levine able to hang on to a last-ditch effort. Hard charging for Garrison. Just not enough time for Derek to be able to close up on Justin Levine. And Justin Levine is going to be able to take this thing home at Chicagoland Speedway. We'll be able to take a moment and speak with him in just a second. All right, give us just a second and we'll be able to take a moment to speak with these drivers. We'll be right back.
Our time. We know what we gotta do. Stay in the fight between the walls.
Time to turn the intensity up.
Fight to the end, no matter what happens. Good day to be in victory lane.
Green flag is in the air. Driving with conviction. Side by side, hammer down. The afterchecks are quick. Count out anybody. Who wants it the most?
We are eyes on the leader now.
He is driving his guts out. Wheel to wheels, they come to the line. Victory, this will be.
Nobody wants it more than you.
Next flag is going to end it.
Does he have enough?
A dominant performance.
You gotta say now, baby. Let's go!
Can you believe what you are seeing? Everybody pushing as hard as they can in one final shot.
We gotta earn this thing right here to the end.
It is all on the table.
A total 500!
Drivers, start your engines!
Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We'll go ahead and get our race winner up in the booth. Justin Levine, congrats on the win. That was pretty entertaining race to watch. We finally had one of these races go green pretty much the whole way, besides that stage break. And really, I'd say the difference was that one pit stop where you were able to get out in front of Derek Garrison, and from then on, really, just used that dirty air to hold off Derek for the most part. Really tell me about how that was from your perspective and how you're able to hold off Derek for so long, who was dominating that early portion of the race.
Oh man, Derek gave me one hell of a battle. I'm so impressed by him. What a great driver. That raced me clean. I really appreciate that. I don't think we ever touched each other the whole time. We were just about leaning on each other, but we never touched. But just kept using dirty air. It's really hard to pass low unless you just have better tires and you have all the momentum. And I was able to get on his door and just get him tight enough and just keep holding him up that run. I was a little nervous on undercutting him. I wanted to at least go a lap before him. He beat me with 2-lap fresher tires in the stage, just drove around me like I was standing still. And I was like, I don't know if this is going to work. But realizing that run right before the last pit stop, just how much we distanced everybody by pushing each other to go drive harder and harder, I wanted to make sure that I got out there with at least some type of drafting help or buddy or something like that. And it just happens that I think I felt like the 4th or 5th, and I had a bunch of cars that just constantly leapfrog myself with the fresher tires and air. And then I think with just about like 20 to go or so, he finally got to 2nd, and I just made sure I kept the nice pace, kept the right front under me. And as soon as he got within a 1.5 seconds, I turned it on, and the rest is history. I was able to, I think, beat him by like a full second or so.
Yeah, you talk about the importance of dirty air, especially at a track like this, where we could see it when some drivers were taking away others' lines. It was really a handful for the driver behind to try and find some sort of clean air. And I know it was pretty hot out there, and it looked like it was pretty slick. Would you kind of agree with that?
Oh, 100%, 131 track temp. That's what made this setup so much fun to drive. You were driving off the right rear. It didn't matter if you were the bottom, middle, or top. It was just always eating the right rear, and it just made the racing so much fun. I love that this league has the hotter track temps. It definitely makes the fixed racing feel like a open or at least a looser set. But that great job by the admins on this track temp and combo.
Yeah, and I agree with you 100% there. I feel like, personally, when I was racing, I really liked the hotter track and being able to slide around and drive off the right rear more than the right front. Driving and trying to protect the right front is really not my cup of tea, and it was never really that fun, to be honest with you. But
Never.
heading on throughout the season, I think we have one more race before next year, or maybe no, we got 2 more races: Nashville Super Speedway and Lime Rock Park. Those 2 are really interesting tracks. Nashville, depending on what the conditions are, can also be hot and slick. Lime Rock Park being really a new entity to pretty much NASCAR. What are your thoughts on those 2 tracks?
Absolutely love Nashville. Next week, it's week 13. We get a new build for the truck, and we're hearing that it's completely different than what we have. So it's definitely going to be a learning curve for everybody. Hopefully, it brings better, tighter racing and ability to pass here and there. But Lime Rock, I'm going to be out to lunch. I'm going to be somewhere in the dirt, and the tow truck's going to have to come pull me out somewhere.
Well, you know what? I love the honesty, and at least you'll have a win to kind of back up with that race in case things don't go your way. Before I let you go on and celebrate, is there any shout-outs or any sponsors that you'd like to thank?
Sure. Of course, yourself do such a great job, especially being a solo act, man. I don't know how you do it. I love the quality of how much you put into this. It's absolutely awesome. Like, everybody has to somehow see your content and be like, I want him to broadcast my league. Like this, you do such an amazing job, and I hope you understand how much I appreciate it. Bryce and all the admins for putting this on, and of course all the viewers and Mac Tools.
Thank you personally. That means a lot to me, and I keep trying to improve each and every week on things that I know And like you said, it's I don't know how I do it, honestly. It's a little scary, but I'll let you go on and celebrate your win. Congrats on the win here tonight at Chicagoland Speedway, and hopefully we'll see you back in victory lane at Nashville Super Speedway.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. That was race winner Justin Levine. Sounded pretty stoked to be able to get into victory lane here at Chicagoland Speedway, and it sounded like really he just enjoyed the whole feel of this race and being able to slide around and it being kind of what we talked about in the race, more of a driver's track, and I think a lot of those drivers are going to agree with that as well. We'll go ahead though and talk to Derek Garrison here. Derek Garrison able to round out in the second place after trying to make a late hard charge on Justin Levine, just not enough time or not enough pace to get back to him. Tell me a little bit about your night and really maybe what more you needed there in that last run.
Yeah, overall it was a good night. Led a couple of laps, stayed up front, and tried to save tires the best I could. But Justin Levine got us, I guess, and I wish I would have pitted just a couple of laps before he did. I think that's what really got him to win.
Yeah, you talk about the tire difference that, I mean, we saw it tonight, really just pitting half a lap or even a lap ahead of your competition really made a big difference. And I know from what it looked like, partial dirty air, partial just tire difference, you were able to control really a lot of this first half of the race. And after getting into that dirty air, I'm sure it really didn't make things comfortable from your perspective, but still overall a really great run tonight. And I know heading into Nashville Speedway next week, I think we could say that's a pretty decent track for you. Would you agree or disagree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I run pretty good there, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a big question mark because this new update coming out with the trucks. So we'll see how that is. And yeah, I'm looking forward to going to Nashville. And then after that, I think we got a road course after that.
Yeah, Lime Rock Park comes after Nashville Super Speedway. I know from talking to Justin Levine, he said we might find him in the dirt or maybe at a different track completely. How I know you've been kind of really good at road courses, just with a different vehicle from what we've been in the past few seasons in this more boxier truck. What are your thoughts on going to a road course, especially a road course like Lime Rock Park?
I don't know about Lime Rock because I don't think I ever raced there, to be honest with you. But running these trucks at like Sonoma and Watkins Glen and stuff like that, they're pretty fun. You gotta take care of your tires and all that good stuff, and just try to be there at the end.
That it will be coming down to is just being there at the end, especially at road courses. Before I let you go, is there any shout outs you'd like to give or any sponsors you'd like to thank?
Yeah, good job to Justin. Great win. It was really fun battling with him. Uh, Thank you, Bryce, and thank you, Oscar, for the broadcast.
Yeah, and thank you for taking a minute to speak with us, Derek. I'm going to let you go on and continue on with your night, and hopefully we can be speaking to you again next week at Nashville Super Speedway.
All right, man. Take it easy. Thank you very much.
That was second place finisher Derek Garrison, again with the early portion of this race going his way, not able to hang on to it and rebounds for at least a second place finish. I know a little bit disappointing for him, but our next driver that I think will be happy with his win is standing by, and that's a 74 truck of John Barry. John Barry, tell me a little bit about your night. We saw you in the top 3, top 5 area. Overall, though, able to stay in that third place and really a good night for you.
Yeah, first thing first, I got botched my qualifying run. I forgot it was 1 lap instead of 2. So the first lap, I'll just run top, get speed up, and they saw the checker flag. Like, oh, wait, that's a problem. Thankfully, it was actually still a decent lap, but yeah, just I don't know. It was nice to actually see a race that had no wrecks and be able to run the whole thing on pace. So that was nice for once. But this thing was just meh on older tires. Just like it seemed like if I wanted to go, it just slid, and I don't know, I just kind of held my ground where I was at the whole time. It seemed like.
Yeah, and we kind of saw you hit a little bit earlier than those two other guys in front of you, Derek Garrison and Justin Levine. Um, was that more just trying to get clean air, or was that just from a driver's point trying to get those new tires on? Like you said, it looked like these trucks were a handful when these tires did wear in.
Yeah, I was just trying to do like an undercut like they do in F1, which worked, but it just seems like those don't really work because it seems like whoever pits absolutely dead last, as long as they don't lose too much ground, just comes flying back up through there. Like before the stage, I thought I was actually looking pretty good, and I don't even remember who won the stage. Honestly, whoever was in the one truck, I can't remember no one's names, but I look in the relative and he's just flying up there like, when the hell did he pit? And he just goes, boom, right flying past me. And at the end there, I was just trying to. I know the way the fuel window was going to work, that the pit window for everybody was going to be really small. So I was like, okay, maybe I undercome by a couple laps, I can get in front of them, and there won't be that much of a tire deficit. And then it didn't matter because they flew past me again. So obviously I need to basically pit when I'm running out of gas. Otherwise, I don't know. This is undercuts seem like they don't work on here as much as they used to back in the day.
Well, even though it might not have worked out like it used to work out, you still were able to get third place. And I think this might actually, is this your second third place finish? I think back to back, maybe. I think.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I finished for Bristol, whenever that was.
yeah, so back to back third place finishes. Still, I mean, you're pretty much carrying momentum from where you left off before the break that we had, and going into Nashville Super Speedway. Is this something where maybe we see you break through for a win, or is this going to be something where you just keep building on these top three finishes and eventually break through?
I'm on top 5 the rest of the season. Every league it seems like I run, I'm always like a top 5 dude who can never actually win the race. So I'm fully expecting that to happen. But I think I don't know, as long as I don't get that dreaded, which apparently iRacing they fixed, but they'll probably break it in this update. This whole thing where like the frame rate like tanks as the race goes on, that was like a big detriment to me earlier this season because I was like running like 15 frames and you just can't race on that. But I don't know, National Super Speedway, I've never raced that before, so I don't know how good I'm gonna be there. And Lime Rock's a road course, so I expect half the field to be off into the trees. And I don't know, I think top 5 for a good portion of the season is what we're looking at here. I might be able to get one off, but it's gonna be lucky if I do.
Now, you mentioned Lime Rock, and I wanted to ask, are you going to be one of the drivers that we might end up seeing in the trees, or do you think that's maybe a better track for you as well?
Well, since it's a road course, I'll actually practice for it. Most of these ovals, I just show up and guess what I'm going to do. But yeah, I'll actually will practice for that. And I've been doing road course racing on iRacing like the last year, not doing oval stuff. But it's all been like the F4 and Super Formula cars where they got so much damn downforce, and you drive these things on a road course. And I feel like a school bus will probably have a better turning ability for the corner. But I'm okay at road courses. It just depends on how everybody else shows up, because you get some people who show up at road courses that are actually like pretty damn good, and you got some people, if they didn't have an arrow pointing them the right way to go, they'd be going the wrong direction. I've seen some really bad guys on road courses, and I don't know how this league's going to stack up, but I guess I'll find out when we get there.
I think you pretty much say what I would say is we're just gonna find out when we get there. um, Once again, though, congrats on your second third place finish. Hopefully we can continue this with Nashville Super Speedway and being able to talk with you. Before I let you go, is there any shout outs or any sponsors you'd like to thank?
Again, I like to thank my dogs for not coming down here and bombarding me while I'm racing. They have a tendency to do that. I also like to thank my cat for not walking in front of the computer monitor while I race. I like to thank my wife for letting me do this and not kicking me out of the house. I like to thank my boss for not firing me. I like to thank the people in the race who finished behind me. I don't want to thank the guys who finished in front of me. That was rude. They should have let me win. So hopefully next time I'll pay them money to let me win. But I'm broke, so I'll probably only give them like 50 cents. And that's about it. And also you for the broadcast and these guys for putting on the league. And yeah, that's about it.
I love that. I love that whole answer. All right. Thank you, John, for being able to speak with us for a few minutes there. I'll let you go and enjoy your night. And again, hopefully we'll be able to speak with you next week.
Yeah, me too. I enjoy our little talks. It's been pretty nice. You know, it's a nice little relaxing conversation we have. So yeah.
Alrighty. Have a good night, John.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Alright, that was John Barry. I always love talking with him. I mean, that's the second conversation I think we've had. They're always so interesting, but he seems like we'll be speaking and seeing a lot more of him throughout this season, continuing his third place. Again, we mentioned it, back-to-back third place finishes, one from Bristol, one from the night, and going on to Nashville Super Speedway. I think we'll have probably a decent shot at talking to him. Now, to really just go over this race, a lot of drivers, I mean, I think, like I said, are really happy that we were able to get this race to go green minus the stage at lap 60. We heard from John, we heard from Derek, we heard from Justin Levine. That's just 3 drivers out of the field. And I'm sure if we are able to speak with more drivers, they would love to comment on how tonight's race went. Overall, from a fan and broadcast point of view, it really brought us all that we could expect. And going on to next week, I think this is really going to build going through these next couple of weeks. And I know a lot of diverse tracks coming up. So some drivers might not be too thrilled about that road course that we've been talking about of Lime Rock Park. That's going to really be interesting to see, but I think Nashville Super Speedway is going to be a really good race for these drivers. Before we do anything else, though, let's go ahead and take a look at our Hard Charger Award. Remember, our Hard Charger Award is given to the driver who's able to gain the most spots. And that tonight is going to go to Colby Jackson in the 70. Or sorry, I said 70. Colby Jackson in the 73 truck, excuse me. 15 positions gained, 19th to 4th. So a really good night from Colby Jackson. Thanks again to Raps by JB for bringing this award to us and allowing us to give these drivers something to go and race for every week. You can look them up on Facebook, and they specialize in custom goalie masks and paint schemes on iRacing. Majority of the cars that we have in iRacing. So go ahead. They have some beautiful trucks in the field. And personally, I think he does some of the best work. So go ahead, make sure you check them out. But once again, shout out to Colby Jackson, biggest mover of the night. Going ahead and taking a look at our race results. Justin Levine able to take home the win. Derek Garrison in second place. Also close, just not enough time to get there. John Barry finishing out the top 3. Colby Jackson, Bryce Shoemaker, that's going to be your top 5 drivers. Bryce Shoemaker with a decent night, able to finish 5th. Colby Jackson, who we just talked about, being the biggest mover of this race. Going on to 6th place, Jordan Berry, Andrew Chapman, Jacob Zolla, Reese Schaefer, Justin Day, those being your top 10 drivers. Then we go ahead and talk about Brock Piper, Stoney Benfield, Keith Shoemaker, Jim Foskett, Reese Hamilton, top 15 drivers. Reese Hamilton finishing a lap down. Unfortunate night for him. We saw him have those few moments up front, and unfortunately after that early pit stop and having the issues on pit road, just not able to rebound. Joseph Kazi finishing 16th. We saw him up front there, and unfortunately not the night that he was probably wanting, finishing in that 16th position, one lap down. Then we go on to Aaron K., Eric Garrison, Jason Miz, Landon Matherson. And then I think that should be it. Yeah, that is it. So that's your field size right there. 20 drivers. Unfortunate night for some of those. Others, it was a great night. And we'll take a look at the schedule one more time. We're at Nashville Superspeedway next week. Then we head to Lime Rock Park, and then we'll be off for a week for the holidays and for the new year. Then we'll go on to Richmond Raceway, Michigan International Speedway, Lucas Oil, Indianapolis Raceway Park. Then we head to one of the newest tracks on the platform of Mexico City, and our regular season finale of Charlotte Motor Speedway. Then we start off our playoffs at Iowa Speedway and Texas, and then head to Echo Park Speedway, the newer version of Atlanta Motor Speedway. And then that will introduce us to the round of 8 of Atlanta Motor Speedway, Dover International Speedway, Talladega Super Speedway. A really unique and interesting round right there for these drivers. And then rounding out the round of 4 and the rest of the races will be Kansas Speedway, Martinsville Speedway, and the season finale at Homestead Miami Speedway. I just want to say again a big shout out to everybody who tunes in, whether it's now or later. I appreciate all of the feedback that you guys give and being able to tune in pretty much weekly at this point for these races. I hope to see everybody again next week for what should be a fun and exciting race again. Until then, I hope you guys have a good rest of your night or day or afternoon, wherever it may be, whatever it may be. And we'll see you guys all back here next week for Nashville Superspeedway. Once again, thank you.